Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. In today's video I am playing Paltoad against a dragon deck. This is a basic dragon deck, nothing too crazy frills wise. Anyways, I start off the match with one mulligan and my opponent takes it. Second hand I have a basic Pokemon to start with, and that is SHOWDOWN. Now this matchup is pretty scary for Paltoad because Raging Bolt out of nowhere would be very terrifying and put a lot of board pressure, so I'm very wary of that beginning. Luckily, I have two decent deck search options to begin with. I have Buddy Poffin and Nest Ball. I start with a Buddy Poffin and I really want to see what is in my deck currently. I have access to Castform, Sobble, and the Finizen line. I have Palafin in hand. And unfortunately, and this is kind of scary, my Seismitoad seems to be missing and prized. So I just go ahead and grab Finizen because I know for certain that's going to be played. And I also grab the Castform because the pivot will be very nice. And Nest Ball, I just go grab the Sobble. Remoraid was something I was also heavily considering grabbing to get potential extra draw. However, my Remoraid is also prized, so I do not have access to an Octillery. I passed a turn, having a pretty fruitful going first turn one, and my opponent also starts off with the Nest Ball. Right here, I am terrified to death of a Raging Bolt just being slapped down from nowhere, but luckily for me, it seems his Raging Bolt is prized, so I actually have a chance to play this game for a bit. My hand is kind of dead at this point. I have some decent supporters, but I really am praying that he doesn't get too crazy a board setup, because if I don't get a decent top deck, I could be in a very sticky situation. Now my opponent plays a Colress Tenacity, getting a Stormy Mountain and Double Dragon out, and with the Stormy Mountain he is going to get his Gibble out, so he has a potential Goodbye in the future. And Manual attaches to Dreepy, so he has the Manual Retreat option. I am blessed by my top deck and get a Ball Guy since my hand was pretty slow, so that felt pretty good. I know immediately I'm going for Level Ball to get that Drizzle, and I decide for Dive Ball and Hisuian Heavy, which may have been a misplay. I really just wanted that draw out of that hand because it was feeling pretty dead. So Drizzle and Inteleon are the two Pokemon I decided to get with Level and Dive Ball, and Hisuian goes and grabs my Remoraid, and I also see that my Seismitoad and Pont Helmet are also prized, two cards that would have been very useful in this matchup. Drizzle goes out and grabs Professor Letter, so I have energy to power up my Finizen attacker, and I decide to attach that to my Finizen, and no need to try to switch because I just have the Palafin in hand. And that will be a pass to my opponent for my turn. I'm feeling pretty well set up here. Even if he gets a KO, that means I just get a free pivot from Castform into my Palafin. Now my opponent benches Dredagon and uses Starry Mountains to go and get his Drampa out. And then he evolves into Dragonair and finds an Evosoda to go get himself Goodbye. And with that Goodbye, he is going to go grab his last board piece, which is Tatsugiri. So that is going to be his full board setup, and then it feels very more sturdy than me, and he goes ahead and attaches a Double Dragon to his Drampa, pays for retreat, and swings with a base 70 for the easy KO on the Totodile, and that is his first prize. I promote into Castform, which I'll be honest, I forgot about during the game and then remembered and felt way safer, and I go into Inteleon. Now this Inteleon turn was really crazy hard. I had access to Raihan and Guzma in hand, and you know, any supporter and deck, but I decide to go for the Guzma play. So the two trainers I decide to grab are Aqua Patch and Ultra Ball, because with Ultra Ball I can discard the other water from hand and accelerate into play with Aqua Patch, and that means I also have the potential for draw. So I go ahead and Guzma up his Goodbye, because I don't want him to have access to his ability anymore. However, if I was just smart and realized I don't want any abilities, I could have easily gone for the Hex Maniac play here, which was probably the better play to make. Here my opponent can just send up his Dragon, and even without the Goodbye, he just has Dragonite in hand, so all that work killing Goodbye was for nothing. That was all to stop his Dragonite from coming out. So it really sucks that he just had it in hand, and now he can go get a supporter to easily power up his Dragon, and that kinda sucks. And that's largely in part to the fact that I don't have as many attackers on board as I want. I know Palafin is going down this turn, and I can charge up my own Inteleon with the Raihan in hand, but after that, if I don't have a way to get another attacker out, I'm going to lose a lot of momentum and tempo, and I'm very concerned about that. My opponent decides to go get Aurora Energy with his Raihan instead of Rainbow. Rainbow he's saving to proc Drampa later, and he plays Aurora, discarding Acerola to get his Dragon fully online, and he KOs my Palafin. Now, I am saved by my top deck once again. I get a Water Energy. If I did not get Water Energy top deck, that would have had to been my Raihan deck search. So now I can go get the Super Rod I wanted to grab instead to recycle all the attackers I have, because let me remind you, my Seismitoad is still in the prizes. So literally, Feraligatr and Palafin, and occasionally Inteleon, are the only attackers I currently have on board. Now, there's mandatory 20 snipe on Inteleon, and I'm not giving him the Drampa powered up for free, so of course I just do the 20 damage on the Drampa, even though it doesn't really matter. And that is my second prize of the game. Still no Seismitoad to be seen, so I am still in a really rough spot, and my board is even rougher, because let me remind you, I don't have a backup attacker. I'm on very thin ice and trying to figure out what am I going to do next turn, because I know with 110% he is going to kill my Inteleon this turn, and this is going to feel very awkward. I am just losing tempo rapidly. I just don't have enough guys on my board to attack with. And ideally, I would have had Seismitoad by now, but you know, someone's in the prizes, not here. So my opponent goes and plays teammates and opts for Rainbow Energy and Super Rod. He shows me because he's playing them right away. Super Rod to get his Dragon and Goodbye line back. And my opponent decides to shuffle his deck because he is going to use Cloak to get the maximum potential of finding all of his guys he wants out this turn. And he finds a Trainer's Mail. He immediately debates about playing the Trainer's Mail first or going into the deck with Story Mountains to guarantee that he gets a Pokemon out, but he ends up playing the Trainer's Mail to try to find a way to get more of his guys out. Doesn't find anything too crazy off of it, and he picks up Spy Myth probably to Stadium Bump if I do decide to play something like Rough Seas or Brooklet Hill, but joke's on you, I don't have either of those in my hand. So he just uses Story Mountains and goes and decides to go get his Gible out, because Garchomp this late in the game would be basically a nail in the coffin for me. He rainbows to the Gible, so he has a fully powered up Drampa, and he doesn't waste an energy attachment, and that is my Inteleon very, very, very much dead. And it's me very, very much panicking. I top deck the Finizen, so it's nice I don't have to try to go search him out. And I can get a Water Energy with my Team Aqua's Great Ball. And using the Team Aqua's Great Ball, I am searching with heart and soul trying to find a way out of this situation. I don't quite know what to do, so I save the Water Energy in hand. I'm looking at my options. I played the Irida I got off of an Octillery, which, by the way, Octillery hasn't really been doing too much this game because my hand has been full of supporters. Here, I am considering picking up a Rare Candy, but I don't really have any Pokemon to evolve into. I keep on saying Paltoad and thinking it's Seismitoad, but the reality is, I still don't really have anything to Rare Candy into, and I don't have Search, so I go for Evil Incense to guarantee the Palafin next turn, so I can have that pivot. And, it feels bad. I attached Muscle Band, it doesn't really end up mattering, so I can Octillery for at least one card and get some value out of him. It turns out to be Escape Rope, which I play just to force him to use his resources to look for retreat options instead of furthering his board. And I use Basculin to get Temple and Totodile back out. Using a turn mid to late game to set up your board with a Basculin attack feels really bad, but I felt like this was my only chance to get back into the game. Reality is, it's a sinking ship and I am slowly dying on it. My opponent starts his turn, he gets Stormy Mountains to get his Dragon back out. He's just double checking his resources, seeing if he has Arven Retreat in deck, and it looks like he does. And so with Dragonite, he goes for the Arven and grabs the air balloon and his town map just to see what is in his prizes, because Raging Bolt has been prized the whole game, and I don't know quite what else he has prized, but it turns out Evo Soda and Paltoad. Seeing Paltoad in his prizes is a pretty big deal for him, because with that he can recycle teammates and Raihan and get the comeback supporters late game. He starts off his turn with a Tatsugiri, and he finds a Guzma off of it, you know, just a little nice sprinkling of extra best for the late game. And then he decides to manual attach his fire for turn, and then uses Jacloak and is blessed with a mysterious treasure, which means his Goodbye is now back online, which he will go get, discarding Quick Ball. And with that Goodbye, he is just going to get his Garchomp out, which he grabs preemptively to prevent any nasty Hex from my side of the field, even though I don't really have a way to get it at the moment. And then to finish up his turn, he retreats back into the fully powered up Trampa and swings, taking Palpad so he has a better way to respond to my board. I am genuinely terrified, and I don't know what to do. I sit on my hand for a bit before deciding I just need to look at my deck, and I play Evo Incense to see what I have available for me. I know I am going to probably grab Palafin off of it. After playing Evo Incense, I can Octillery for 1, and I do it, except it's an Iono. Here I'm debating about Iono and Marnie, but I know if I play any of these Disruption supporters, it's not gonna matter, because his Dragonite and Gabite will just get his 2 guys back out, and he's going to be able to respond anyways. So I decide to just via Seeker and discard my hand and get a fresh new 7. Chances are I'm not going to miss anything off of it, and I did not. I get Splash Energy and Heavy Ball, which lets me go search for either Croconaut or Paltoad. But I decide for Paltoad because if I get Seismitoad off of prizes, that's probably my only chance of potentially getting back into this game. So I go and I swing and I take KO. I am on my 3rd prize. It feels really awkward, but I really hope this prize is Seismitoad, and guess what? It's Hisui and Heavy Ball. It is not Seismitoad. And because of that, I'm pretty much dead in this game. I believe this game is over. My opponent gets his Dragon easily powered up. He's just doing everything in his power right now to ensure that he has game next turn. Realistically, at this point, he already has the game secured, because whatever Pokemon he sends forth will be capable of KOing my entire board. However, undeterred, he plays the Palpad he took off of his prizes, recycling both teammates and Raihan, and uses Dragonite to go grab back teammates back out, which he uses to grab Special Charge to ensure that he has enough energy to attack, and Bravery Charm to put on his Dragon to make sure it's so fat I couldn't possibly kill it, putting 2 nails in a coffin that was already well secured. He even uses Jacloak to find Marnie. However, at this point, all he has to do is retreat, attack, and I'm pretty sure there is nothing on my entire board that could survive a Dragon next turn. Splash Energy returns Palafin to my hand. However, I'm looking at my board. I'm looking at the HP of my guys. I play the Brooklet Hill because I was kind of upset that I didn't get Steam Bump the whole turn, but I realistically find out that nothing survives, even his Dragon, and I forfeit. Realistically, I'm pretty happy I was able to play the game as long as I did. I pretty much thought that he was going to get Raging Bolt out and sweep my board, so I am happy that he didn't. However, there was a couple of misplays. I felt like I got greedy doing Hisui and Heavy Ball going for Remoraid, because the Octillery didn't end up being as useful as I wanted it to, and the turn I went for Guzma, if I played Hex instead, I could have potentially bought a lot of momentum to help my board. That's just some insight from me and my opponent at the end of the game. I hope you found this video enjoyable. If you did, share it with a friend, and like and subscribe down below, because there's certainly going to be more like it in the future. And I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye!